Get dad ready for every job with all the tools he needs this Father's Day. The time by Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Label Crafts Jamaica Limited offers exceptional finishes that will make your product extraordinary at an affordable cost. The Temperature by Label Crafts Jamaica Limited. The #1 choice for label printing is...
It's 29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Mahiri Stewart.
And I'm Dana Davey.
In Nationwide News at this hour, Danville Walker says he has not been formally offered the position of Managing Director of Petrojam.
Scotiabank says its move to take Scotia Group Jamaica private will have no material impact on its customers.
Munga Honorable and his co-accused freed of murder.
Prime Minister urges the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce to join the national conversation on ways to improve the country's labor market.
Desmond McKenzie rejects claims that the local government ministry has been tardy in its allocation of the parochial revenue fund.
I am able to say pay PRF now for June. That is how current we are in that scenario. No arrears. No arrears. And they know that.
In news from the rest of the world, authorities probe possible oil spill off Trinidad coast as Venezuela raises alarm.
US and Iran have agreed to wording of a deal to end their war.
And in sports, Canada creates their own World Cup first in 1-1 draw with Bosnia.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he'll be deploying mystery patients across the public health system as he moves to address issues of poor service from some healthcare workers. Dr. Tufton will join us.
From 6 to 8, we'll bring you a delayed broadcast of the NWC's groundbreaking ceremony for the Santa Cruz Bypass Main Replacement Project.
And at 8, it's the A-Team. All these and more as we take you home this Friday afternoon, Friday, June 12, 2026.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Former Director of Elections Danville Walker says he has not been formally offered the position of Managing Director of the state-owned oil refinery Petrojam. While Walker has been widely tipped to replace Telroy Morgan, who stepped down in March, but Nationwide News understands that his appointment is still requires approval from the Ministry of Finance. Dana Davey reports.
Danville Walker says he remains in his substantive role as Senior Vice President of West Indies Petroleum, the country's foremost supplier of bunkering operations and ship fuel. It's a position that would conflict with his expected post as head of the state-owned refinery, given that the two companies operate in the same sector. Walker also holds shares in a subsidiary organization, World Energy Solutions, which would represent a further conflict of interest. Speaking with the Nationwide News Center, Walker says once he receives formal notice of his appointment, he will begin the process of divesting the shares and stepping down from all positions that could represent a potential conflict. He further told our news center that Chairman of Petrojam, Metri Siaga, sought to make it clear that the board took full consideration of Walker's current circumstances. He says the expectation remains for those conflicts to be resolved before formal appointment. Walker is a former Director of Elections, having led the reform of Jamaica's voting system between 1997 and 2008. He also served as Commissioner of Customs and spent 7 years as Managing Director of the Jamaica Observer. More recently, he was Senior Vice President at West Indies Petroleum and has chaired the Trade Board. He was conferred with the Order of Jamaica in 2008. Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Scotiabank says its move to take Scotia Group Jamaica private will have no material impact on its customers. In a notice to account holders, the bank says the proposed transaction will not affect their relationship with it and that there will be no changes to any of their products or services as a result. The reassurance comes as Scotiabank in Jamaica moves to end its 60-year run as a public institution. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
Scotia Group Jamaica Limited (SGJL) announced on Friday that it will delist from the Jamaica Stock Exchange. In a statement, Scotiabank Caribbean Holdings says it will purchase the 28.22% of outstanding SGJL shares it does not own. The bank says it will repurchase the shares at a cost of $61.50 each. Scotia Caribbean says the move is based on the unanimous recommendation of a committee of independent directors of the SGJL board. It says the transaction is aimed at enhancing capital and operational efficiency, which it notes will also improve the bank's agility in responding to market opportunities. The group head of international and global transaction banking at Scotiabank says the move reflects Scotia's ongoing commitment to operating in Jamaica. And President and Chief Executive of SGJL, Audrey Tugwell Henry, says the transaction is intended to enable the bank to focus on long-term value creation and core business growth. In its notice to customers, the bank points to recent investments as evidence of that commitment. It says it has installed more than 20 new ABMs over the past year, with a further 126 expected by the end of the financial year, and that it has reinstated cash services at several locations and reopened its renovated St. Anne's Bay branch in May. Scotiabank has been operating in Jamaica for 137 years. It went public in 1966. Ernst & Young has been appointed as advisor and an independent committee has been assembled to oversee the transaction. If approved by minority shareholders and the court, the transaction is expected to close in the final quarter of this year. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Senior Deputy Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Wayne Robinson, says more banks are not the solution to the current problems bedeviling the sector. He told Parliament's Standing Finance Committee earlier this week that increasing customer freedom will be the key.
At the core of the problem is the degree of competition in the sector. We're not going to change the number of banks, but what we can try to change is the ease with it you can move from one bank to another, the ease with it you can move your product. You can select or choose products from one institution or another. So we've been working on a couple of things. You mentioned the eKYC. That is a major tool or a major initiative that we're pursuing.
Know Your Customer, KYC, is the mandatory verification process businesses use to confirm the identities of their clients and assess potential risks. It is a vital global framework used by financial institutions to prevent fraud, money laundering, and terrorist financing. Under the current Jamaican framework, every bank is required to individually carry out the verification process, which makes it difficult for customers to move from one financial institution to another. The centralized KYC being pursued by the BOJ is geared toward fixing this issue. However, Robinson says there have been delays experienced in rolling out the new system.
We are in the RFP process. We had an initial tender, but we weren't able to find companies that actually met the requirement. So we are going back to tender very shortly. So work is progressing where that is concerned. We're also working with the banks to see how can we make more readily available in one place to the public comparative data on interest rates and on fees in one central place.
Wayne Robinson, Senior Deputy Governor of the Bank of Jamaica.
After 9 years, entertainer Munga Honorable and his co-accused Sherdian Gordon have been freed of murder charges. The charges were dropped in the Supreme Court on Friday. Khaleesi Wright reports.
Munga, whose given name is Damian Rhodes, has built a decades-long career in the dancehall industry by a string of major hits.
It's the Munga Honorable.
But his career stalled in 2017 after he and Sherdian Gordon were charged with the murder of Cleveland Smith. Reports are that Smith was accosted by a group of men, one armed with a gun, at a party in Akiwok, St. Andrew. An altercation ensued and he was shot. He was pronounced dead at hospital. It took 9 years for the case to go to trial. It finally got underway on Monday with the prosecution arguing that Munga and Gordon attacked and shot Smith during a dispute. But on Friday, the case was thrown out due to the many inconsistencies in the testimony of the sole eyewitness. Munga was represented by Christopher Townsend and Chadwick Berry. Townsend says the case turned on the poor quality of the identification evidence.
I'm glad to announce that we were successful in the defense of Munga Honorable and Mad Rhymes, charged for murder. Now, it has been a long 9 years, but Mr. Champagne and myself were able to cross-examine the Crown witness, the only witness for the Crown, to the point where the credibility fell down significantly, and therefore the prosecution threw in the towel. The main issue was identification, and we were able to demonstrate that the evidence concerning identification was extremely poor.
This argument was echoed by attorney Saeed Bernard. He and King's Counsel Peter Champagne represented Shordian Gordon.
The prosecution's first and only witness as to facts gave evidence and was cross-examined extensively, which unearthed several inconsistencies, omissions, and in some cases even distanced herself from particular statements made as at the time. Based on the foregoing, the Tribunal of Law was of the view and agreed that the inconsistencies and the matters of identification and the like were too much, that it could not be overcome, and as a result of that, the case was dismissed.
A relieved Munga only had these words. Khaleesi Wright for Nationwide News.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, JCC, must now join the national conversation on ways to improve the country's labor market. He was giving the keynote address at the JCC's 41st Annual Awards Banquet on Thursday.
The question is, how do we attract the people who have decided to withhold their labor? How do we attract them into the labor market? It is a national conversation that must be had. But as our country grows and our economy grows, we are going to have a new labor policy and a new policy on work, because the current situation is indeed constraining on your output and your efficiency. But it also means that the Chamber of Commerce needs to join the conversation, needs to become stronger advocates. You can't just leave it up to myself and Tony, because I'm going to say one thing and anything I say Tony going to say the opposite. So we need to hear the voice of the business community.
Dr. Holness says the local business community has a pivotal role to play in boosting Jamaica's labor force and the economy.
Have a conversation with your employees and your customers, to speak generally so that the entire Jamaica can understand where we are today. It is totally different from the 70s. Where we are today, Jamaica could become Dubai or Singapore, where if our economy grows, we might have to bring people in to keep the economy turning over. The model of development and growth for many years has been, how many visitors can we have in tourism? That model needs to shift. It has to be, how many people can we get to come and live in Jamaica?
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
5:14.
Termites, rodents, or birds infesting your home or office? Call Rentokil Initial, the pest expert, at 876-926-4236 for a free pest assessment island-wide. The temperature brought to you by Rentokil Initial is
31 degrees Celsius in both capital city Kingston and out west in Montego Bay.
Remember the first time? The first glance? The first touch and rediscover that feeling. At Couples Resorts, every stay feels like the first time all over again. Escape to a couples-only all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dining, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views. All included. Jamaican residents can celebrate with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residence. Couples Resorts. Like the first time, every time.
Continuing the news, the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, is again raising concerns about the theft of electricity from streetlights across the island. In a statement on Friday, JPS says it has intensified its streetlight repair program following the completion of its restoration efforts post-Hurricane Melissa. JPS says the restoration exercise saw power restored to over 90% of customers within 4 months. The Light and Power Company says it has repaired 1,820 streetlights across the island since May 1 this year. However, the company notes that it's facing a challenge of electricity theft from streetlights. JPS notes that this problem has undermined the company's efforts to repair and maintain them. According to JPS, when persons overload the circuits through illegal connections, streetlights are likely to go out. JPS says its crews will continue working island-wide to address the outstanding issues and restore streetlights.
Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie has rejected claims by his opposition counterpart, Natalie Nita Garvey, that the ministry has been tardy in its allocation of the Parochial Revenue Fund. He was speaking with George Davis on Cliff News Online on Friday.
When we are advised by TAJ that the allocation for the month is 700 million, they gave us a breakdown of the funds. We don't determine the breakdown. The money will not be released until the program comes in to the ministry. So she's not talking about that. They're not being honest with that. We are in the month of June, and I am able to say pay PRF now for June. That is how current we are in that scenario. No arrears. No arrears. And they know that.
Nita Garvey levied the criticism during her contribution to the sectoral debate on Wednesday. She also chided Minister McKenzie for his recent announcement of a $300,000 allocation to all councillors for drain cleaning. But Minister McKenzie hit back, pointing out that an allocation of that amount has never taken place under the PNP.
What the opposition is failing to recognize and to say to the country that in the last 25 years of their stewardship of local government, they can point, no councillor can say between the administration of the PNP that any of them have ever gotten 500,000, 300,000, $1 million as councillor for any project. They cannot say that, but they can say that under Jamaica Labour Party government, under Andrew Holness administration, that we have been providing that for them. Because I hear the fancy talk, there are some good ideas that she raised in the sectoral presentation, which you are not averse to, which I'm not averse to. But 98% of what was given is fluff for sensationalism and to get applause.
Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government.
Meanwhile, Minister McKenzie says his ministry has consistently provided the necessary funds for projects that municipal corporations should undertake, such as drain cleaning. But he told George that some are guilty of squandering the money.
This administration, over the last 2 years, all the funding to the municipal corporations have been released. It is not the responsibility of the Ministry of Local Government to provide the funding to clean drains. It is the municipality's responsibility. The case has always been that they provide the funds, they use the month of June, May and June for drain cleaning. But she knows the facts because they are not telling her the truth, that a lot of the municipalities have exhausted their funds by doing things that they are not supposed to.
Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
In regional news, authorities in Trinidad and Tobago are investigating a possible oil spill off the nation's coast after reports and video footage emerged on Friday. Venezuela says satellite data suggests the spill may already be affecting regional waters. Trinidad's Energy Ministry has launched a joint operation to determine the source and nature of the substance spotted near the waterfront. It says sea vessels have been deployed to assess the extent of the spill. The development has quickly escalated into a cross-border environmental concern. This as Venezuela's government said the oil spill could be drifting towards its coastline, threatening fishing grounds and marine ecosystems.
Pakistan's Prime Minister says the US and Iran have agreed to wording of an agreement aimed at ending their war in the Middle East. On Friday, the Prime Minister noted that mediators were working with both sides to finalize a deal. He says Pakistan, which has taken the lead in mediation efforts, was working with the warring countries on the next steps. The apparent breakthrough in negotiations comes after Iran exchanged fire with the US and Israel over 3 days this week. In a post on X, Iran's foreign ministry says an agreement has never been closer.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, Danville Walker says he has not been formally offered the position of Managing Director of Petrojam.
Scotiabank says its move to take Scotia Group Jamaica private will have no material impact on its customers.
Munga Honorable and his co-accused free of murder.
Desmond McKenzie rejects claims that the local government ministry has been tardy in its allocation of the parochial revenue fund.
I'm Mahiri Stewart.
And I'm Dana Davey.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and join the Nationwide Family Club at patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. News next, tomorrow.
I just wanna have fun. Some is envy, I go on Magnum. $700 give you one. That me need when the bass turn up. Magnum, the champion of dancehall. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
When a big match, bucket for the crew. When a big match is a big deal too. A KFC when we link up for the big match. When it's time for the big match, we grab a big deal. Big bucket time, my side on the field. It's always KFC.
Enjoy the biggest party in sports with KFC. Get a big deal or big bucket for the big match and cheer on your team. KFC, it's finger licking good.
5 years ago, a vision for specialized urological care became a reality. Today, that vision continues to transform lives. Join Nationwide 90 FM on Wednesday, June 17 from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the delayed broadcast of the Spanish Town Hospital's 5th anniversary celebration of its urology service and the official handover of new prostate biopsy equipment. Join healthcare leaders, medical professionals, and partners as they celebrate 5 years of innovation, dedication, and progress in public health care. Catch the delayed broadcast on Nationwide 90 FM on Wednesday, June 17 from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. All this and so much more on our YouTube channel at Nationwide Live JM, or keep your dials locked to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Apotex, a subsidiary of the Carimed Group Limited.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 7 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 7 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Canada created their own bit of World Cup history on Friday by picking up their first points in the history of the World Cup after coming from behind to earn a 1-1 draw with Bosnia-Herzegovina in their opening game at the BMO Field in Toronto on Friday. Joko Lukic gave the Europeans a lead on 21 minutes, but Kyle Laurin came off the bench to give Canada a point with a 78th minute equalizer.
It's a lovely flick on, and it's a Bosnia goal! Bosnia and Herzegovina make their presence felt on the global stage. Canada looking to oblige here. It's Kyle Laurin, the goal-scoring feeling they craved on their own patch.
And of course, the third co-host will feature in the late game on Friday. The United States will battle Paraguay in Inglewood, California, and the game to be carried live right here on the Nationwide 90 FM. And just before the kickoff between the USA and Paraguay, there'll be an opening ceremony which is getting underway in just under an hour's time. And then right here at Nationwide 90 FM, we'll have a 10-minute highlight package of the game today between Canada and Bosnia-Herzegovina. We'll be highlighting the big moments, of course, giving you a bit of preview on the USA versus Paraguay game that kicks off at 8 o'clock in the evening. And just some in-house business. If you're interested in advertising during the World Cup coverage right here on Nationwide 90 FM, you can contact our sales team at, listen to this, sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com, or you could call 876-630-1210 to learn about the remaining sponsorship and advertising opportunities. There are loads of them here during the 39 days of coverage. 2 days almost out of the way, so we've got 37 days still to go, including the big final in New Jersey on July 19. Some cricket now. The West Indies opened their quest for a second world title when they battled the defending champions New Zealand at the Aegis Bowl in Hampshire in England. This, of course, at the Women's ICC T20 World Cup, and the game gets underway at 12:30 in the PM on Saturday. And, of course, the game features a contrast in style. The West Indies with their firepower versus the depth of the New Zealand team. The Kiwis, led by their star player Sophie Devine, they're coming off some good results, and of course series wins over South Africa and Zimbabwe, and they're brimming with confidence. For the West Indies, they won a Tri-Nation series involving Ireland and Pakistan over a week and a half ago, though they suffered 2 reverse in the warm-up games against India and Australia. But of course, the West Indies coach Shane Deet says the players are really up for this task of taking on the Kiwis, and he's expecting a good result from them.
I can't wait to get out there tomorrow. No, it doesn't really matter who we're playing against. Obviously, New Zealand are a good team and the defending champions. And, you know, it was a great game that we had with them in Dubai 2 years ago. And if things went our way, we probably could have got the better of them, but I think we're pretty evenly matched teams. So it's real important to get off to a good start. So it's a real important game. I think we're ready for it. And girls, you know, we've had so much prep, probably, you know, you can have too much prep, you just want to get the show on the road. So I think we're at that stage where we're just ready to go.
Good luck to the West Indies women. They won the World Cup in 2016. And of course, the World Cup bowled off on Friday with England beating Sri Lanka by 87 runs. And that game was played in Birmingham. And they're talking about the West Indies. The men now, they're playing against Sri Lanka in the second game of their 3-match T20 International Series at Sabana Park on Saturday. The game bowls off at 7:30. A victory for the West Indies will mean that they wrap up the series with 1 game to go following that impressive 7-wicket win over the same Sri Lankans on Thursday night in the opening game. And the Darren Sammy-led squad is expected to go in with the same 11 which beat the Sri Lankans on Thursday night. And we close off with netball. St. Catherine Racers, Jace Risers, and St. Anne Orchids will all be seeking their first win of the season in the Red Stripe Flavors Netball Jamaica Elite League, which continues at the stadium course on Friday. And of course, the tip-off is just under 30 minutes from now. The Racers suffered a 66-48 reverse against Manchester Spurs in their opening game of the season last week, and they'll be looking to bounce back because they're facing the champions Kingston Hummingbirds at 6 o'clock. And despite the opening round setback, Racers head coach Rashid Joseph remains optimistic about his team's chances of securing a positive result on Friday night.
We are more optimistic in terms of a better showing, a better result. We are trying to solve the issue of injuries that we have, and then another of our international player in the likes of Simone Gordon is available for the game this evening. And so we have tried a little in terms of working out some passes to the circle, and we're going to be making some adjustments to the defensive end, and that should produce a better result.
And the Jace Risers, they suffered defeat in their opening game to the Kingston Hummingbirds last Friday. And this Friday, they're going to be playing the St. Anne Orchids, who will be playing their first game of the season. And their head coach, Nadia Hansen, believes her team has addressed these shortcomings that contributed to their narrow loss, and she's confident of an improved performance.
From a defense line, we're going to focus mostly on man-to-man marking. I think on Sunday, we allowed the attackers from Hummingbird to just run through easily. So we have looked through that this week of training. So we're going to focus on the man-to-man. We want to tight up in the defense as that. But again, we are mostly looking at our different structures, our different combinations, because it is training for us. Yes, we'd like to win, but it is not solely depending on winning.
That's Nadia Hansen, she's coach of the Jace Risers. All right, before we go, just to remind you of what will happen for the rest of the day as far as our World Cup coverage is concerned. At 8 o'clock, we're heading over to Inglewood, California for a kickoff. The USA, the third host, they'll take on Paraguay in their Group D game in Inglewood, California. And we'll go live with that. As I mentioned, we'll have a highlights package of the Canada-Bosnia-Herzegovina game. And that will come your way just before kickoff. It's a 10-minute feature, so it will just about 10 minutes before we head over to California a little later on. And of course, the coverage continues tomorrow. Brazil is in action against Morocco. What a mouth-watering prospect for an opening game. All of that to come, and of course, for the entire weekend, heading into next week, Nationwide 90 FM with their World Cup coverage. And as we mentioned, we still have got space in the sales department for you and your calls, so you could take advantage of the opportunities that we still have to be a part of our World Cup coverage. All right, that will do it for sport. We won't come back at 6:05 as we normally would, because we've got a taped feature. So we're going to be back with sports on Monday morning with Tawna during the news at 6. Have a good weekend.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
For all your custom framing, printing, graphic design, and purchase of art, Make It Frame Art Jamaica Limited, serving you for over 40 years. The time by Frame Art Jamaica is
5:33.
This is Nationwide's FIFA World Cup Fact.
Did you know that Italy and West Germany's 1970 World Cup semi-final is remembered as the game of the century? Yes, that's a fact. After a tense and tactical 90 minutes where Italy's trademark defensive approach largely contained West Germany's famed attack, extra time erupted into chaos. In total, 5 goals were scored in just 30 minutes, with Italy ultimately prevailing 4-3 in one of the most dramatic matches ever played.
That was Nationwide's FIFA World Cup Fact.
As a taxi man, every mickle make a muckle. I see way, so BCIC Easy Pay stay.
Having 11 months to pay my car and home insurance, little by little, puts me at ease.
Exactly. With my type of business, I don't have to fret about pay a big money, yet always covered.
Get as much as 11 months to pay your car and home insurance while enjoying 100% coverage with BCIC Easy Pay.
Looking to remodel your home? Need a unique marble countertop design or stylish bathroom faucet? Look no more. Garrett Trading caters to all your building finishing needs. From tiles and countertops to kitchen sinks and toilets, we have it all. Contact us today at 876-634-9773 or 876-669-8996. Visit our showrooms at 169 Constant Spring Road, Kingston 8 or Stone Yard at 10 to 12 Cleardale Avenue, Kingston 10. Garrett Trading for fine finishes, fittings and fixtures.
Good afternoon, listeners, viewers. It is a Friday and a lovely Friday indeed. Welcome to the cover story. I'm your host for this afternoon, Siobhan Campbell. And before we get into the meat of the matter, remember it's now World Cup season and things kicked off on Thursday. Nationwide will be bringing you exclusive radio coverage of the matches. We'll also be having post-game analysis for the knockout round, so don't forget to tune in. And further, if you want your brand to get in on the FIFA World Cup 2026 action, contact Nationwide 90FM sales team at sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com or call 876-630-1210 to learn about the remaining sponsorship and advertising opportunities. And please also note that we're now on a new YouTube channel, that's NNN Radio Live. Again, NNN Radio Live. So go over to that new channel, like, share, and subscribe. And on today's cover story, we're touching on matters of health, because an interesting initiative now by Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, who says he'll be deploying mystery patients across the public health system. This as he moves to address issues of poor service from some healthcare workers. A mystery patient is an undercover evaluator hired to audit healthcare facilities.
We're also going to deploy mystery patients. Word to the wise. In other words, people are going to come here with headache when they really don't have no headache. And they are going to sit and wait in the triage process for attention. And they are going to write down whether or not the customer service rep is active on the ground. And if they are missing, then we are going to find out why. In business, we call them mystery shoppers. Well, I'm going to call mine mystery patients. And they'll be live and in living color, visible, and will do their own write-ups.
That's Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. Meanwhile, the minister says he will be making unannounced visits to all public hospitals. Dr. Tufton says where there is a breakdown in service or hospital conditions, management will be held accountable. He was speaking at the opening of a staff lounge at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital in Kingston on Thursday. Well, the Health Minister now joins us to discuss further. Good afternoon, Dr. Tufton.
Hi, good afternoon.
It is good to hear from you, Dr. Tufton. When I heard this initiative, I was quite taken aback because it sounds very, very important, and I can see how it would be very helpful in terms of you hear the stories about the customer service or customer care rather in the health facilities. So what specific problems do you intend to essentially unearth when you made this decision to deploy these mystery patients?
All right. So first of all, I think it's important to place in context this idea of a mystery patient, for want of a better word. So the issue around how we have built out health facilities over the years, the government that is, significantly, and that continues to take place, and the ongoing issues around customer service is a critical concern that we have to address. Now, we do know and recognize, and I said it, that the majority of Jamaicans who go to a health facility get what they ask for, they get care. But too often, some don't. And customer service is a big part of that. So we are trying to do a couple of things. We're trying to enhance the environment of work so we benefit the worker, because sometimes some of the anxieties are caused from frustration, not having a staff lounge, not having a meal, especially if they're working overnight, etc. And I address that. But at the same time, we have an obligation as workers to deliver on the commitments we make to work. And too often, there are gaps. And the gaps are not seen when you have official visits, as I do from time to time. And sometimes the complaints that are lodged sometimes don't filter up enough. either because of just how they are expressed or otherwise. And so the new department that was established over a year ago to, among other things, enhance the customer experience led by Dr. Humphreys is to deploy a range of activities, including training and retraining, but also inspections, unannounced visits, surveys, audits of complaints that are lodged, and then, of course, this idea of having persons who are engaged, hired to go in and just to see how the system works and how and reconcile with how it should work. So it's a menu of activities. It's not just one. This is just one of several.
In terms of the deployment, is this going to be, say, in concert with the officials at the hospital in order to, say, see how it operates at the line staff level, or will the officials be completely out of the loop?
Ideally, it should be without the knowledge of the management or the workers within the institution. I mean, and it's not unusual. It happens in different environments around the world. People are actually hired to assess the quality of service. So, to have knowledge of the person doing it in that environment clearly does not benefit from the kind of natural comings and goings of the activities on the ground. People will prepare and obviously try to put their best out. Now, it's therefore the best approach to getting a true reflection of what is happening. And just to, it's not an attempt at prosecuting anyone, it's an attempt at trying to improve the process. Because in some cases, maybe someone thinks they're doing the right thing. They may be following a procedure, but not exercising judgment or good judgment. They may be, feel aggrieved because of a patient that may be irritated. But the truth is, we have to deal with that every day, and the way we deal with it could determine how we neutralize situations. So it has to be viewed in the context of trying to assist the process. But frankly speaking, we are at the stage where if we have to weed people out because of poor attitude, poor approach to work, not demonstrating an interest, not carrying out their duties, then that has to go against the record of the individual. And one of the concerns I have is that too often we provide excuses for things that really should not be excused away, and where personal responsibility should be recognized, either to commend or certainly to penalize. And I think we have to stop generalizing the challenges and drill down to the specifics. And so if someone says, this has happened, I need a name and I need a process and a context so that the appropriate level of evaluation can take place. And that is what this kind of micro intervention could result in, which I think will ultimately enhance the quality of the service.
And I'm happy you brought that up, Dr. Tufton, because I see where you said that the management of the hospital will be held accountable. But what about the individual workers? And you understand when we're talking about organizations such as the Nurses Association and the Junior Medical Doctors Association. How now does that accountability process impact them, and do you think they'll be on board for such a thing?
Well, listen, these organizations are a collection of members who are hired by contract to carry out a particular function. And while there's a grievance procedure that under law is allowed, those procedures have to have hearings, and their arguments can be advanced on both sides. And ultimately, hopefully, the judgment will come down on where there is right and due process is followed. So I'm not worried about that, because I don't think that the well-thinking, hard-working, dedicated nurses and doctors want to have a reputation of non-performance because of the deviant behavior, or should I say the neglect of a process by a few, because I do believe it's a few. So we have to be transparent about the process. It's not an attempt at abandoning due process, and certainly representation is a part of that due process. But I believe all of us must accept that if the government is going to spend billions of dollars to improve hospitals, to build more buildings, to equip them, the people component is really where the quality of the work resides. and there should be an obligation on the part of all of us to perform. And what I'm trying to get to, and I did speak to it in the sectorial, this accountability framework, which all public bodies under health, all 13 public bodies will be required to come and sign on to, which will specify some very, very identified specific initiatives that they must pursue, that will be evaluated and they must deliver on. And my ambition in this period of my stewardship is to focus on service quality, because I do believe that the government has tried its best to give resources to the system. It is the management of the process that I believe that requires a lot more, and it has to start with accountability and holding all concerned. So the people at the top are ultimately accountable, starting with me, of course, but then down to the chief accounting officer, the board chairman, the CEOs, the SMOs, and that should be drilled down right down to the final worker, to the contractors, the people who clean the bathrooms. I mean, everybody has to play their part, and that's what we're aiming to do by engaging a series of processes, which includes what I've just announced.
Excellent. Please stay with us, Dr. Tufton. We're up on a break.
The time by Grace Good Move is...
It's 5:46.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is...
It's 31 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and it's 31 out west in Montego Bay.
Jamaicans at home and abroad, and friends of Jamaica across the globe. Here's your opportunity to help shape Jamaica's future. The Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference returns for its 11th staging at the Montego Bay Convention Center, June 14 to 18, 2026. Under the theme Diaspora Partnerships, Rebuilding a More Resilient Jamaica. Connect with decision makers, explore investment opportunities, and build partnerships that drive real impact across trade, technology, sustainability, security, youth development, and more. This is Jamaica's moment, and Montego Bay is where it begins. Register now and play your part in building a more resilient Jamaica.
Campari, Red Passion. 3 bills that are for your drink and 18 bills for the floss. Aye, they are the bar, just get a text. Buy for your link up, she want make a flex. Buy a Campari, you know what's next. Ashley, I call up, wifey, don't vex. Head to your nearest community bar and get your Campari for the recommended drink price of $300 for a drink and $1,800 for the flask. Campari, Red Passion. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the cover story. We are talking with the Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, about the new mystery patients, I want to say, initiative that's to be launched. Do you have a date for launching it? I suppose you don't want to actually give a date. You want to make sure this program stays under wraps.
Exactly. But they're working on it. And as I said, on several other events around improved patient care.
But Minister, I want to ask you, will the people who will be, I want to say, employed to do this, will these be professionals in the health sector, so to speak, able to make a proper assessment and make the differentiation between, say, what is a customer care violation, what might just eventually just be a systemic issue, for example, wait times and things like that?
Right. So this is why I say that one should not necessarily look at it as a punitive kind of ambush. It really is an attempt at improving the process. So it could involve different skill sets depending on what you want to determine. But let's face it, the average citizen who goes to a facility who is likely to be in distress, that's why you go to a hospital, requires very basic interfacing. They require someone to listen, to explain, to calm them down, to allow them to use a clean bathroom, a seating area that's comfortable. Even if they have to wait, an explanation as to why they are triaged to wait as opposed to seeing a doctor immediately because there are other patients. That sort of thing. So all of this is not rocket science. If you go through a basic training and if you're committed and passionate about what you do, I find that sometimes the empathy is missing from the care, and it really has contributed to a negative perception of the service. Beyond that too, by the way, there are issues around things like maintenance and upkeep. You know, we spend millions, hundreds of millions, outsourcing security arrangements, security contracts, cleaning arrangements. These are not full-time employees. These are staff members, contractors that clean bathrooms, clean the floors, ensure there's toilet paper in the, you know, and so on. They must perform. They must perform. And they are rusted to check every hour to make sure there's no spillage on the ground, that toilets can flush, that just the basic things. And you know, while we have people who are there to provide supervision, to examine, to make sure that these things are in place, too often it's not, and that's really concerning, because it means that we're not getting value for money, to be totally frank.
And part of that is just general compassionate care, Dr. Tufton. And I've often wondered, because you limit it in terms of this evaluation to the health system, but it's not only a problem in the health sector. There are other areas that seem to suffer from this just general lack of understanding and customer care and compassion. Is it not part of when we train our workers that this is something that is expected of you?
I'm glad you raised that. The entire theme of my sectorial this year was around the concept of family, community, and trying to stimulate a greater sense of care one to another. I know it sounds very, maybe even cliche, maybe abstract, maybe appears non-clinical, but the real problem we face is just not being our brothers' keepers. We've become a very selfish, individualistic environment, and we spend more time tearing down each other than working together. Now, the reason why it's amplified so much in health, as opposed to the tax office or, you know, the bank, the private banks, because it's both private and public, is because health is extremely emotional. I tell people every day, you could be doing the best all year, and a baby, God forbid, falls off a bed, and the mother starts crying, and it goes on TV, JR Nationwide, and all of a sudden the entire place is a failure because it has emotional appeal, because it's a human life you're talking about. So there's almost a zero tolerance for any deviation, which sometimes it's impossible because there are margins of error in everything you do. But you have to just keep trying, and what is important is that you demonstrate, I tell people, sincerity of communicating, because people discern sincerity from spin, and communication is key when it comes to this kind of environment where you have to show compassion and empathy and understanding, because therapy really starts with good communication. People feel better already when you start to answer their questions, because when somebody's head is hurting them, they think they're having a heart attack, the doctor or the nurse says, it's a migraine, take these tablets and sit down. They feel better before the tablets start working. That's just the psychology of how the human anatomy and the human brain works. So we have to have that capacity, and there are many who are. There are many Florence Nightingales out there and Mary Seacoles that do it on a daily basis, but unfortunately there are too many who take it as a job and just don't go beyond the call of duty to ensure that the connection is there. There are also issues of people, you know, some of the higher levels that breach the system. I mean, the attending of work within certain hours, they're, you know, I know I'm quoting controversy by saying some of the consultants who administer their care via the phone to the junior doctors as opposed to reporting and doing the hours that they are required to do. The shifting which is allowed between private practice and public service. I mean, the system allows for a significant level of flexibility, but with compliance and adherence and coordination, it can work. It falls apart when people decide to do their own thing, and too often it is the case, and it gives the entire process a bad name, and we have to call it as we see it, and we have to take it on.
Exactly.
Right?
And Minister, I know you partly answered this anyway, but I'm going to give a YouTuber a chance to weigh in their own words. Dr. Tufton, on wasting on a time, if medical nursing lacks compassion, what will happen to them? So that question is really, if you do find fault with a practitioner, will there be steps taken?
Well, the truth is, steps have been taken in the past. There are examples. We get a lot of complaints each year, not all of them are reported. One of the things we're going to do with this department is report quarterly on the number of complaints. Patients take the hospitals to court, monies are paid out, people are dismissed, interdicted. So there is a process that works, but I do believe that there is a cultural change that is required in the system, and you're right, it's societal. One of the things I'm hoping for is that the opening up around the mobility of labor in health to bring people in as people go out, to cross-train between cultures and environments as we're doing through MOUs with Ghana. We have a technical mission from Philippines coming next month, India and other places. We still have Cubans here too. That we will blend the cultures to get, hopefully, the change that is needed, including the change in the environment through the building out of some of the infrastructure, because it's a significant amount of infrastructure build-out that is taking place, never seen before since independence. And when these new buildings are opened, starting this year, it hopefully will represent an opportunity for people not to have any excuses to do what they need to do, because they will have a work environment that does not tease any frustration or disappointment, which then is taken out on patients, to the extent that it happens sometimes, because I'm not suggesting that it is always the case. There are many who make the sacrifice.
But is there a failing in terms of the education system, in terms of these health workers? Because shouldn't this be a part of any curriculum when you're dealing with people? You just say, well, you're not just putting a thermometer in somebody's house, you're asking them how they feel, is it comfortable, things like that. This should just be a basic training.
You're pulling me out into a much wider conversation that I'm very tempted to venture into, but I know will be offended some people. I do believe that the training institutions have a lot more work to do. There was a time when a practitioner was trained beyond the theory and the academics, good bedside manners, how to talk to people, how to communicate through apprenticeship. There was a time when seniors used to insist on it. Some of them now are absent and do it remotely. And the proper bedside manner and bedside protocols are not sufficiently emphasized. And I've read enough. I'm a behavioral scientist. I'm not a medical scientist. I know my subject, that human behavior has to start with a mindset and a connection between that mindset. And when it becomes emotional, it is not on a prescription pad.
Yes.
It has to be that connection. And I don't think that I think we have lost a lot in terms of how we have transmitted attitude and empathy as part of the overall training. And again, I've said it. I mean, I've said it to the trainers and to the institutions. But it may be a bigger reflection of a society that has become very individualistic and almost wayward in some instances.
You'll find no disagreement with me there, Dr. Tufton, but that's all the time we have. That's the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton. Thank you for your time, Minister, and all the best, especially with this program. I hope to see the results and a report once you have that evaluation done.
Thank you. All the best.
that's where we have to bring a close to Nationwide 5 listeners. Please stay tuned with us. After the break, you'll hear a delayed broadcast of the groundbreaking ceremony for the Santa Cruz Bypass Main Replacement Project. It's been brought to you by the National Water Commission. That will be up to 8 o'clock. So thank you for joining us here at Nationwide 5. Enjoy your Friday. All the YouTubers who have stayed loyal, coming with us, even all the challenges. I'm going to take just this 30 seconds to say thank you all. Sharon Bless, George Walton, Juliet Sanchez, Otis Bennett, MJ, Mary Gold, Bailey, all of you, thank you so much for sticking with us despite some of the challenges we've had. I'm Siobhan Campbell, your host. Thanks to our super producer Dana Davey, our technical operator Andrew the Glenn, the big man Bugs Anderson, and all my friends and compatriots in the news and production department led by the very capable Cara Powell. Have a good evening.
Enjoy peace of mind knowing that your hard-earned money is protected by the JDIC. That's right, the JDIC through the Deposit Insurance Scheme guarantees up to $1.2 million of your deposits in commercial banks, merchant banks, and building societies. This means your deposits, such as your savings and checking accounts, are covered. Rest easy knowing that your deposits are secure. Your deposits always protected. For more information, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JDICJAM, or visit our website at www.jdic.org.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
When a big match, bucket for the crew. When a big match is a big deal too. A KFC when we link up for the big match. When it's time for the big match, we grab a big deal. Big bucket time, my side on the field. It's always KFC. Oh, 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 oh.
Enjoy the biggest party in sports with KFC. Get a big deal or big bucket for the big match and cheer on your team. KFC, it's finger licking good.
If you've ever called in, shared your story, or got help on this show, then you're already family. Now make it official. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Step into the future of Kingston business. Introducing the Sana, premium mixed-use development on South Avenue. Retail, office, residential, and lifestyle spaces. Modern, sustainable, and professionally managed. Secure your space now in one of Kingston's most distinguished upcoming addresses and position your brand for long-term success. Don't miss this rare opportunity. Call Money Masters now at 876-322-0339 or email the word Sana to info@sanasouth.com. The Sana by Money Masters, Reef South. Experience more.
Live in St. Elizabeth, Santa Cruz to be exact. And why are we here? We, of course, are having our special broadcast on Nationwide 90 FM for you, our viewers and listeners. So what is the plan today? Today is a groundbreaking ceremony for a major infrastructural development, and that is for the laying of new pipes. Now they say water is life, and according to what people say, this area, pretty much the entire area in and around Santa Cruz, Brighton and New River, areas like that as well, but especially the Santa Cruz bypass, has been affected for approximately 40 to 50 years with old piping. And this is not just old piping, but piping that is 3-inch piping. Now, this project is going to be replacing those pipes approximately 3 kilometers of road. And that is the entire bypass road that people know that evades the town and the adjoining roads. And as I said, places like New River and Brighton and several other communities. But the idea is that will work out to approximately 3 kilometers of road. This project is $150 million of projects. Now, it's a 148 give and take, but let's just round it off at 150 million. So that's major. Now, this will redound to the benefit of approximately 1,200 to maybe 1,500 residents. And of course, don't forget the commercial activity. Today, we'll be speaking with several different people, policymakers, residents, people who are political representatives, and of course, the engineering minds that sit and get work like this done. So, stay tuned and get all the information you need. Remember, water is life, and the right pipe, right choice.
The quick salutations. Honorable Matthew Samuda, Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change. Salutation also for Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth Northeastern, Ms. Zuleika Jess. I'm advised she's on her way. His Worship the Mayor for Black River, Mr. Richard Solomon. Councillor for the Santa Cruz Division, Mr. Christopher Williams. I also see in attendance Mr. Jermaine Jackson, Regional Manager for Manchester and of course this plot of ground in St. Elizabeth, and with him as colleague presenter Mr. Nevergreen, Project Engineer. But our salutations extend to the Miss Murray Bennett, representing for the Rural Water Supply Limited. I see members of the Ministry of Water, Environment and Climate Change. Come on, give us a wave or give us a signal that you're all here. I see Dr. Sharon Morrison, Director General, and of course a whole host of dignitaries from the Santa Cruz and St. Elizabeth Parish. But you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to include Wellesley Gunter Prep School. Come on, give me a clap, give me a wave. Yes, I see them. And their teachers are with us. I also see students from the Stetz School, Stetz High School. No, the gentlemen, them have a wave harder than that. So these guys, you guys are the footballers from across there? I'll tell you guys a little story when Rossies used to come up here and we don't always go down with the win. You understand? I say we because you don't kind of brand me now, but you don't understand the assignment. Big up to the Stetz team, but to the ladies and the residents from all around this environs near Santa Cruz Town Center. Good morning, and to members of the media, good morning to you. Thank you for coming. The pleasure is mine to, as I get this program rolling, to extend, well, as I get this program rolling, to ask Mr. Jermaine Jackson to come with what will be the welcome remarks, which will kind of delve further into the NWC's commitment to this project. Please give him a round of applause.
It is a significant milestone in our effort to improve the water supply and reliability system of the greater Santa Cruz system. But first, I just want to extend a warm welcome to our special guest, to the Honorable Matthew Samuda, Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change. Welcome, sir. To the Mayor, Mayor Solomon, also welcome. And to the MP who just stepped in, Ms. Jess, also a very welcome. In terms of In terms of, no, when I looked up, I saw that she just came in. And to Councillor Williams, who would have worked with us closely in terms of all the issues within Santa Cruz, welcome, sir. We are also welcoming outside of the parish in terms of Kingston, our sister agency, Rural Water Supply also. We have in the midst customers, residents, students. Good morning. This new pipeline represents more than just an infrastructure upgrade. It is a tangible investment in terms of health, well-being, economic resilience of the people of Santa Cruz. By enhancing the integrity of our transmission system and improving water quality, we are not only addressing long-standing challenges, but also positioning this community for future growth and development. At the National Water Commission, we recognize that the reliable access to safe, potable water is fundamental. This project reflects our commitment to modernizing our systems, reducing losses, and delivering a consistent supply. I wish to commend the technical team from the NWC and also from Rural Water Supply Limited. They worked diligently in terms of bringing this project to completion, and we hope that the 5 months that we envision for this project to last, that we will complete on time or before the duration of the 5 months. But I am saying, once we strengthen our infrastructure, improving our efficiency is paramount and will result from all of this work to start. We also ensure that the benefits of these investments will also be felt by not just the existing customers, but those who would have been disconnected based on the age infrastructure over the years, and also persons who sit waiting 4 years. Pretty much we call them the potential customers. It will be a reality within the next 6 months. Once again, I thank you all for being here, and I look forward for the continued support of this project from the community, all the agency stakeholders. Thank you very much.
I'm going to ask His Worship the Mayor to come now and to bring his greetings. Please make him welcome.
Today is a good day. Let us give thanks for life. Amen? Amen. Mr. Moderator, Mr. Delano Williams, who is the Corporate Public Relations Manager at National Water Commission. Honorable Matthew Samoda, MP, Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change. You are in the parish quite a lot, Minister, and every time you come to the parish, you bring smile to the people of St. Elizabeth. Help me big up the minister, man. Sure. Our Member of Parliament for Northeast St. Elizabeth, lovely Miss Jalika Jess. I also want to acknowledge Councillor for the Santa Cruz Division, Councillor Christopher Williams, my own council colleague. Regional Manager for St. Elizabeth and Manchester, Mr. Jamie Jackson, and other representatives of the National Water Commission, other representatives of government agencies, community leaders, members of the media, residents of Santa Cruz and neighboring community, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, pleasant morning. Are we still in the morning session? I know we're a bit late. We're still morning. Pleasant morning. It gives me great pleasure to bring greetings to you on behalf of the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation. It is indeed a warm day, literally a warm day, so I bring warm greetings to you here in the hot, hot town of Santa Cruz. And you see, wherever it's heat, water is needed. Now, this groundbreaking ceremony for Santa Cruz Bypass main replacement project is a very vital project. This occasion marks the beginning of an important investment in the future of Santa Cruz and the wider parish of St. Elizabeth. On behalf of the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation, I want to extend sincere appreciation to Honorable Minister Samoda and the current government, the National Water Commission, and all stakeholders whose vision, planning, and commitment who have made this project a reality. I think they deserve a big round of applause. Please allow me to acknowledge former Member of Parliament Delroy Slowly for his strong representation in making this project a reality. And I'm sure that it will continue under our new representative. Water remains one of the most essential resources for human development. Every household, business, school, health facility, and agricultural enterprise depend on a reliable supply of clean water. As a parish known for agriculture, productivity, and entrepreneurial spirit, St. Elizabeth understands the importance of infrastructure that supports sustainable growth and development. Today's groundbreaking ceremony represents much more than replacement of water main. It symbolizes progress, resilience, and our collective commitment to improving the quality of life for the people we serve. The upgrading of this critical infrastructure will strengthen the water distribution network, improve service reliability, reduce disruptions, and better position the community to meet growing demand in years ahead. Santa Cruz continues to serve as one of the major commercial and service centers within our parish. Every day, residents from across St. Elizabeth and neighboring areas travel here to conduct businesses, access services, attend school, and engage in commerce. As the town continues to grow and develop, it is essential that the supporting infrastructure keep pace with that growth. This project demonstrates a proactive approach to ensuring that our water system remains efficient, dependable, and capable of meeting future needs. We recognize that infrastructure development is one of the foundations of national progress. Investment such as this not only improve service delivery, but also contribute to economic activity, create employment opportunities, and foster confidence in the future of our communities. They remind us that development is not merely about buildings and pipes. It's about people and creating the conditions for our communities to strive. I therefore commend the National Water Commission, the engineers, the project managers, contractors, technical personnel, and all partners involved in bringing this initiative to fruition. Your dedication and professionalism are helping to build a stronger and more resilient St. Elizabeth. As work progresses, I encourage and continued engagement with residents and stakeholders to ensure that the implementation of this process is smooth and that the benefits of this project are fully realized. Successful development is always strengthened when communities remain informed, involved, and supportive. Ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate the start of an undertaking that will serve generations to come. It is another step forward in our mission to improve infrastructure, enhance service delivery, and create better opportunity for the citizens of St. Elizabeth. On behalf of the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation and citizens we represent, I congratulate the Minister for this initiative and the National Water Commission and all partners involved in this important project. We look forward to its success, completion, and to many benefits it will bring to Santa Cruz and surrounding communities. May God continue to bless this project, the wonderful people of St. Elizabeth and our beloved Jamaica. God bless you. One love, one Jamaica.
Come on, put your hands together one more time for his worship. Very kind, very strong words, not true? Yes, man. We've been talking, so there are some words I'm hoping you've kind of grasped. You hear something about pipeline, not true? And you hear something about Santa Cruz. Anybody here where in Santa Cruz the work is going to be? Since you come under the tent, have you heard? So you need to know, not true? Yes. So I'm going to invite Mr. Never Green. He is a project engineer and he's coming in yellow like a ray of sunshine.
Please allow me to stand on the protocols that have already been established. I must say though, special welcome to Minister Samauda and MP Jez. Despite, welcome to St. Elizabeth, and MP Jez is going to say she is in St. Elizabeth, but I'm still saying welcome. Welcome. Today, therefore, the National Water Commission continue to improve on the various projects island-wide. And the Santa Cruz water supply is no different. So the project we speak about here is the Santa Cruz Bypass main replacement, distribution and pipeline. And this involved the construction of approximately 3 kilometers of 150 millimeter 6-inch nominal diameter distribution pipeline. Also included is approximately 1 kilometer of road reinstatement. This road reinstatement, some areas where we'll be running the pipeline, the road has been badly damaged and will be damaged even more during construction. So we will pave the entire width of some sections of the roadway upon completion of this project. So the pipeline will take place, the construction from the intersection of Main Street and Wanstead Road, those who know formerly Bashko, and right along the Santa Cruz Bypass, and it will terminate behind us, the intersection of Main Street and Sidney Pagan Drive. Also included is Brigade Street from Fire Station up to the stoplight and the entire Market Street. So that will constitute the 3 kilometers. Our goals and success criteria includes a significant reduction in the non-revenue water and the reduction in leak repairs. This is as a result of the old or aged 3-inch pipeline, which was laid over 50 years ago, continue to deteriorate. We often had breakage, a lot of leak repairs, and so this pipeline will replace and minimize our non-revenue water and our leak repairs also. Two of the key deliverables are, we are expecting at the end of the project that over 200 customers will see, or maybe over 1,000 persons will see an improvement in their water supply, a more consistent flow through their pipes of the precious potable water. And also, more potable water will become available for our new customers. The timeline for the project, the Chins Equipment Rentals and Construction Company is charged with the responsibility to execute these works. The National Water Commission gave them the instruction to mobilize with the effective date, June 1st, 2026. Period of performance is 5 months, and so we are expecting that at the end, by the end of November, this project will be completed, probably before, and the pipeline will be commissioned into service. The budget, contract sum, just under 128 million Jamaican dollars, or if you want me to be specific, 127.9 million Jamaican dollars. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, I think we have gotten some more bearings. So let me see if you've been paying attention in the class. Where is the project going to be, on this road or that road? Where's the left? Oh, to the right. And he mentioned some monies. How much money? Yes, master, the money big, but but part of it is the road reinstatement, right? I heard claps when he said we're going to fully reinstate up to 1 kilometer of the roadway. That's a big deal, not true? Right. And I want you to understand that in order to get to this thing, we have to dig. Like water is one of the few utilities that is always underground. So to get to or to install pipes, you always have to dig to get it out or to install the pipes. All right? So it's very necessary work, but it's work that will add value to your homes and to your businesses. He mentioned something about NRW or non-revenue water. Anybody knows what that means? All right, quick class. Quick class for Wellesley, Gunter, and Stex, right? So non-revenue water means that we pump the water from Southampton or from Content, but it does not get to your homes or to your businesses. Some of it leaks out, and some of it is stolen by persons who are not registered to access water. It's true. So imagine Mr. Jackson and his team pump 10 gallons of water from down in Content, and they thief out 4 and 3 leak. How much you get? Only 3, not true. So that's non-revenue water. It means that Mr. Jackson had to pay light bill for the water. He had to pay the teams to go and to treat the water, clear the well area. They had to build an area for the pump. They had to put in a pump, which costs money. And after all of that, he doesn't get any for it. So it's a non-revenue item for him. He's not getting any revenue from it. It's like you have a little shop and you give somebody in good faith and then don't pay you for it. So that's why it's non-revenue. It's not a revenue for us. So we treat what we can in terms of we take care of the leaks. And then you and I will talk about those who, and the police also will get into the discussion about those who access the water and don't wish to pay for it. Is that right? But the ones we can take care of with this project will be to replace the 3-inch pipeline that was there from Wappy Kill Phillip about 50 years ago. Him said, not true. So maybe from when Wappy and Phillip did have them disagreement. And as a result, we're losing a lot of water on that 3-inch. So we're going to put in a bigger main. What size him say? 6-inch. And so that's twice the carrying capacity. And it's a newer pipe. I think he used some big words, but what I heard was ductile iron. What's the lifetime for that, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Green? Yeah, between 30 and 40 years, depending on the underground conditions. So we have pipes that will last us for 1.5 generations. All right, put your hands together one more time for what sounds like a very good project. I'm going to ask Madam MP to come now, Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth Northeastern, Ms. Zulika Jess.
Minister Samudo, I warmly welcome you to the constituency of Northeastern St. Elizabeth and particularly to Santa Cruz. To His Worship, the Mayor, it isn't often that we agree, but as it relates to the betterment of the parish, we certainly do. And I share your concerns about the state of our preparedness as it relates to the incoming, or well, the now hurricane season. I share your concerns. To Mr. Jackson and the entire executive team from the National Water Commission, I wish to thank you for your patience. One of the very first entities and state agencies that I met with when I just became the Member of Parliament was actually the National Water Commission. And that was by choice and not by chance. It was by choice because water is an extremely integral factor, particularly for us right here in the breadbasket parish of St. Elizabeth. I envision a St. Elizabeth, and particularly a northeastern St. Elizabeth, where our water woes are a thing of the past. And so I am delighted this afternoon to see that we're in a position where we can have a groundbreaking ceremony of this nature. To Mr. Green, who regrettably, unfortunately, welcomed me to my own home, I simply wish to remind Mr. Green that I actually live here and that I will be here for a long, long, long time. I shall not be moved. Of course, to my beautiful family right here in northeastern St. Elizabeth, who make sure so me not ever walk alone, thank you for your love and your constant support. So to say that I am thrilled this morning or this afternoon is an understatement. Today we are not just breaking ground for new infrastructure, we are burying the days of dry pipes and inconsistent water supply. Access to clean, reliable water is a basic human right. And this upgrade is a direct response to your needs. I want to commend the National Water Commission and the workers who will bring this project to life. I want to thank Chintz Equipment for their stellar performance, because I am very certain that at the end of these 5 months, we will be having water in our pipes in Santa Cruz. But I touched on the fact that having water is a basic human right, and that brings me to why I was a bit delayed in my arrival today. I was delayed in getting here because I had to be preparing a press release. Because yesterday on the floor of Parliament, the Minister of Justice made mention that there are no human rights issues here in Jamaica. Now, for a country that is experiencing 11 brutal police fatalities in 24 hours, and to have a Minister of Justice state that there is no human rights issue, we find that to be almost delusional on the part of the Minister of Justice. We believe that it represents an alarming display of delusion. We believe that it represents an insult to the countless number of Jamaicans who are begging and crying out for justice for loved ones that they have lost under questionable circumstances. And it is a dismissal of the lived realities that so many people here in Jamaica continue to face. We urge the Minister to reconsider his utterances and to retract those statements and to align his views with the realities on the ground. And the reality is that the people of Jamaica need justice, and we need a government that doesn't turn a blind eye to the realities on the ground. But today is not the day for human rights issues. Today is the day when we celebrate what I believe is the dawn of a new day, courtesy of Minister Samuda. And yes, I am buttering up the Minister because I have great hopes that the Minister will accommodate our request for improvement of the water supply in Union Balaclava, so that the people in Bogue, in Airhouse, and by extension the wider Balaclava communities can get access to water. And I see the face below, so I know that I have to say that by extension Braes River will get water once it is that the pumps are properly upgraded in Union, or rather in Bogue. And so I continue as your strident Member of Parliament to lobby, to advocate, and to plead on your behalf, because water is life. And I know that my people in northeastern St. Elizabeth deserve a good life. Thank you.
I do believe I see on my program the next item that says keynote address. Yes. And so we invite Minister Matthew Samuda to come and to do a presentation, as he always does, on the matters that are near and dear to us. Some people that wear this brand shirt normally says, water is. And so, sir, we invite you now, sir, as we put our hands together for him to come and to speak on this very critical project.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. I'm going to ask you to join me in putting your hands together again for those lovely young ladies who will be a very hard act to follow. Allow me to acknowledge your Member of Parliament, Mrs. Zuleika Jess, indeed His Worship the Mayor, Richard Solomon, of course, Councillor Christopher Williams. I believe I would have seen earlier former Member of Parliament Kern Spencer and former Member of Parliament J.C. Hutchinson who were here earlier. So it tells you just the level of importance that people attach to this project. And indeed, we're happy for you to host us today. Allow me to acknowledge senior members of staff of the Ministry of Water, Environment and Climate Change. I see Director General, who has journeyed with us, I think, almost every week in recent times to different parts of the country. Of course, members of the Water Policy Team. I welcome Ms. Mary Bennett from the Rural Water Team. And I see a strange face beside her who we will speak about in a few minutes. And it's just good to be back in St. Elizabeth. Much of what is taking place now is projects that in many ways you'd have wished would have started a long time ago. But I recall one of my very first tours with CTD of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development when I was given oversight of the water portfolio. Was actually in St. Elizabeth. And I can tell you that when you go anywhere in St. Elizabeth with people like CTD Watson, or certainly like member of the board from Nicole Banks, you get forced into making commitments sometimes that you're not quite sure how you're going to get it done, but you're not given the room to leave without committing that you will figure it out for the people of St. Elizabeth. So for me today is a major milestone in what we call the project life cycle. You see, a commitment can be made 3 years ago, and it has to go through the engineering, it has to go through the PIAB process at the Ministry of Finance, it then has to go to procurement. Upon procurement being complete, it has to go to the PPC. Because of the size of the project, it has to go to cabinet, and then it comes eventually to you. So this is a major milestone in the project life cycle for a project that matters to the future of Santa Cruz. Yes, $120+ million will be paid to the contractor, but I also want you to know that $25+ million of pipes are being provided by the National Water Commission. So with that investment, we're spending just under $150 million in your water supply. And we have made the commitment. We're now at the point of implementation. And I want to assure you that the contractors will ensure, MP, that you have a Merry Christmas in the area and that the project is indeed complete. It's important to note the project cycle, and there's a reason I've introduced that concept this morning. Because especially as today shows in many ways the vibrancy of our democracy, I was expecting to see, jerseys from France, Brazil, Spain, but I do note the other two sets of jerseys that are here, and I think it is good for the democracy and shows the vibrancy of the political culture in St. Elizabeth. So I think it is indeed good. But it is important to understand the project cycle. This area benefited from pipe laying in the 1970s from former Member of Parliament Sidney Pagan. So these pipes are over 50 years old. They're not meant to last you 50 years in that manner. They simply are past what they would call their useful life. And if we're to really evaluate the investment that has been made in the water sector over that 50-year period, I think it would be impatient of debate that it has been inadequate to the needs of the water sector and indeed for the population of Jamaica. In essence, our capital replacement ratio has been way below what is required for the smooth running of a utility. 50 years is too long for replacement of pipes. What ideally you'd like to happen is to have a schedule of maintenance work and a schedule of upgrade work, so that when I lay pipes here today, at year 20 we should start the engineering process, so that at year 25 you're already laying new pipes again to replace these pipes before you get to the 30-year mark, and that you start to have the particular challenges that you're having. But because of the fiscal constraints that we had first as a country, and certainly with the utility, we've never been able to approach our maintenance work in that manner. And it's not because the hard-working men and women of NWC don't know that that's where they want to go. They simply haven't had the investment that is required to drive this process. So I think it's also important to say, well, where are we now relative to where we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago? 10 years ago, the country was only able to invest a little over $1 billion a year in its water sector. That is completely inadequate to drive infrastructure development and to drive the improvements that you need in water distribution. Today, we are happy that this year we will be investing some $15 billion across varying projects in the water sector. So we have moved by a multiple of 15 in terms of the size of investment that we're now able to make on an annual basis. And that is something that this government is indeed proud of. But it does prompt a discussion that has to happen, and I'm happy to have representatives of both sides of the political aisle as we have this discussion, because that is still a fraction of what is ultimately required to achieve the capital replacement ratio that you need, or to achieve your distribution ambitions, because many communities that exist now didn't exist 50 years ago. So that needs to be understood. 3 years ago, before he departed to the IMF, myself and Minister Clark engaged the World Bank water sector expert team to do an analysis. For the simple reason that oftentimes if I say it, somebody says, boy, I'm not so sure if I should take Matthew Samuda's word for it, or if my counterpart in the opposition says it, you know, some people say, well, I shouldn't listen to that part. So we said, let's get a dispassionate, independent view of really exactly where our water sector is and isn't. And we asked them to look at water for homes and business, being potable water, what we needed for irrigation, and what we needed to manage our wastewater. Their assessment of what we require to achieve our water ambitions is $5 billion US. That is 800 billion Jamaican dollars. So when we're investing 15 this year, you understand that there's still a significant gap in what is required on an annual basis to truly achieve our water ambitions. I could absorb in the water sector annually multiples of the total capital budget of the country. So money that is there to build classrooms, money that is there to fix health centers, money that is there to do roads. The water sector could take all of it to achieve its water ambitions for 2030. So we're clear we have grown our program of work 15-fold. And we're proud of that, because literally you're doing 15 times more work than you were 10 years ago. But we're also clear that where I start today, I have to ensure that in 5 years from now, I am doing 10 times as much work as we're doing today if we're to achieve what we have set out in Vision 2030 as potable water for all Jamaicans. So I stand here today proud of the work that we have done, but fully cognizant and being totally open and honest with you here that we have to work together to achieve a rate of project deployment that is 10 times greater than what we currently do to achieve our water ambitions. And I think that's important to understand, because in a very active political environment, a strong democracy as Jamaica is, we do have more oversight than sometimes we give ourselves credit for. And I do think it is important to understand and look at reports and look at audits and understand where your public bodies are and where they're performing and where there are gaps. The first point I would like to bring to your attention is a report that would have been brought to the public's attention by the Independent Fiscal Commissioner. The Independent Fiscal Commissioner is a part of what I call the post-IMF environment in Jamaica. It is a creation that replaced EPOC. EPOC was the private sector's oversight of our fiscal restructuring started by Dr. Phillips in 2013. The Fiscal Commissioner is now a part of the government structure, but as the name says, is independent. So he simply gives you the numbers as they are. And he reported that several entities were having challenges in spending their capital budget. And sometimes because of the way our calendar falls, being our budget year falls, you table the public body's estimates of expenditure in February prior to the end of the fiscal year. So what you see there are unaudited estimates of where you're likely to end up. But beyond that, they have very strict standards in accounting that I think need to be explained just so that you have context. Because it was said that NWC did not achieve its capital budget, and you said, well, if we need pipes, why are you having a challenge? And I think it needs to be understood that last year, being last fiscal year, the government and NWC was able to spend 94% of its capital budget. Now, there is a $2.7 billion point of discussion. I won't call it a discrepancy. In our accounting standards, money that I pay to a contractor like Chin's Construction for mobilization is not what you call capitalized until the work has reached a particular milestone. So it doesn't mean that we weren't able to get the contract started, get the works done, pay the initial fees, but you don't capitalize it in our standards of accounting until it is done. But the money was indeed spent and the work is underway. So for instance, we have a project which is called the Western Resilience Water Project, which is building and laying pipes from Trelawney all the way to West End in Negril. $2.7 billion of that sum was paid in mobilization costs for the contractor to be able to set up site office, to lease place to hold the pipes, to hold equipment, to start to hire staff. And I'm happy to report that that project is now in construction. So that money was spent, the money is on program, the project is on track in line with our Gantt chart. So I think the public needs to understand that yes, the money was spent, but an accounting standard changes how you view the actual capitalization of that fund. So we spent 94% of it. The final 6% was indeed paid in April. So we were 2 weeks late and we accept the 2-week hit. And that is purely because of delays related to Hurricane Melissa. So I want to assure members of the public that the National Water Commission and certainly the Ministry is very focused on delivering against its capital program. A capital program that is 15 times larger than it previously was. So we are very happy with where we are, but we think that clarity needed to be provided. There's another point that I think has to be clearly stated. I don't have any challenges with audits. They're an important management tool. When you're in the public sector, an audit is weaponized politically. When you're in the private sector, the boards are happy to get it so that they can then implement what they need to do to make their company more profitable. And I get it. We're in the public space and we're in an active political environment. But at the ministry, which is now 7 months old, I believe we were formed on September 18th, the very first position that my ministry advertised to hire new staff was indeed for our internal auditor positions to be filled. For the simple reason that we actually embrace audits, because we need to know what is happening within central ministry, within our departments and within our agencies to be able to put in stronger management controls. Now, a few points from the most recent audit I think need to be understood, and I won't dive into them too deeply. First of all, it's a performance audit. not a financial audit, and nothing in the audit alleges any malfeasance, any issues of corruption. It is an audit that simply says there are some management controls that the Water Commission should move to put in as a matter of urgency. And I do want to assure all of you here today and all of you who are listening that we have taken the results of said audit very seriously, and we have made a commitment to implement against optimal accounting standards to ensure that our reporting is indeed up to date. We look forward to another one for the simple reason that much of what was published in the audit we have already started to implement, and in fact some of the recommendations have already been implemented because there is delay between when an audit is completed and when it is actually published. So we are happy to report that some of the items have already been implemented and we continue to focus on it. But in closing, water is the foundation of development. They often say that the road to development is a road, and that is true. But the foundation below that road is indeed the water pipes that distribute water to your homes. Jamaica, in a bipartisan manner, set a goal for 2030, in its own Vision 2030, that we would give potable water to all Jamaicans by that time. We signed on to the UN SDGs and said we would give potable water to all Jamaicans by 2030. We have a lot of work to do and we don't have a lot of time in which to do it. So I thank you for your patience. I do ask you to carry this message that yes, if I have made a commitment to your community, we may not have gotten there yet, but we definitely are indeed coming. And I look forward to joining you in cool November as we turn on the pipes in Santa Cruz. God bless.
Thank you, Minister. I appreciate the updates that were very, very timely. And as we get ready for the ceremonial groundbreaking, I just have two little bits of activity to do. One of them is to extend our greeting and salutation to Councillor Audley Miles from the Silo Division. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. And the other one, which is the final bit of activity for me here, is to ask Councillor Christopher Williams to come and to extend the formal vote of thanks. Please make him welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremony. I'm seeking your permission to acknowledge or recognize the protocols that were observed earlier, because every speaker that came, they mentioned all the dignitaries that are here. So can I go ahead and, okay, thank you very much. But I will definitely use the opportunity though to welcome our Honourable Minister, Honourable Matthew Samuda. Welcome back to St. Elizabeth. We are always happy to have you here. On behalf of the people of the Santa Cruz Division and all stakeholders present, I am honored for the opportunity to say thank you. First, to the Honourable Matthew Samuda, Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change. Minister, your presence here today signals the government's commitment to fixing our water challenges. Thank you for your leadership and for being our keynote speaker. We listened to you and we are very proud of what are the future plans for St. Elizabeth and for Jamaica. To our Member of Parliament, Zulika Jess, thank you for being present and bringing greetings. To His Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Richard Solomon, and the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation, thank you for your partnership. Water security affects every household, and your support helps move these projects forward. To the National Water Commission, especially Mr. Jermaine Jackson and Mr. Neville Green, thank you. We know this main replacement has been long awaited. The Santa Cruz Bypass project will improve reliability and delivery. We appreciate the technical work your teams are putting in. To the contractors, engineers, and all technical staff who will be executing this project, we thank you in advance. We ask that you work efficiently, safely, and with community in mind. To the residents of Santa Cruz, thank you for your patience. This project is for you, and the end result will be worth it. Thanks to the lovely students of Wellesley Gunter Prep for their lovely performance. Beautiful rendition. I must also use the opportunity to thank our former Member of Parliament, Delroy Slowly, for his advocacy. We are very grateful for that. Finally, to the media, the police, and everyone gathered here today, thank you for witnessing this important step. Clean, consistent water is not a luxury. It is a necessity. This groundbreaking is more than pipes in the ground. It is investment in health, in development, and the future of Santa Cruz. Thank you all, and may God continue to bless us.
Thank you, Councillor. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the moment that is of great significance to us, we will retire from here. We're going to my right, towards just near the container. We invite particularly the minister and the person seated to his left to include His Worship, Member of Parliament, Mr. Jackson, and Councillor, to adorn themselves with the usual safety equipment and to pick the shovel of their choice so they can do the ceremonial breaking of ground. Please, again, thank you for joining with us under the tent, and it has been my pleasure to share with you as we do this final bit of activity.
Right here at the Santa Cruz bypass for the groundbreaking ceremony, and we're carrying you live right here on Nationwide 90 FM. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Fake goods, cheap, but the cost high. Crime, revenue loss, unsafe products, Jamaica pay the price. No tax means less money for road, health and safety. And fake goods put your life in danger daily. If acknowledge it, don't support it. If you see illicit products, make sure you report it.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close.
Hi, babes.
A network built in Jamaica for Jamaicans. But connection has never been just about the network. It's about the people behind every hello.
Yo, my general.
Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
Commercial spaces for you. Parks and attractions for you. Housing and residential developments for you. Beautiful rental properties for you. Improving quality of life through infrastructure development across Jamaica for you. The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you. Brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation.
UDC for you.
nephew, feel with culture. Pass the rear, yeah, me want it. Feel all the vibes with me party. So recommended selling price at the nearest community bar for Ray and nephew. Campari or Kingston 62 is only $300 per drink and $1,800 per flask. Must be 18 years old to drink. Drink responsibly.
This is Nationwide's FIFA World Cup fact.
Did you know that Italy and West Germany's 1970 World Cup semi-final is remembered as the game of the century? Yes, that's a fact. After a tense and tactical 90 minutes, where Italy's trademark defensive approach largely contained West Germany's famed attack, extra time erupted into chaos. In total, 5 goals were scored in just 30 minutes, with Italy ultimately prevailing 4-3 in one of the most dramatic matches ever played.
That was Nationwide's FIFA World Cup fact.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jackama figure dig the wall. Upper Total Tools. Weed whacker figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand. Total Tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When you say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slive Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Tired of long lines and heavy grocery bags? Say hello to Fedlin Limited, your trusted online supermarket. Order through our website from anywhere locally or overseas. Create an account to earn reward points. Get discounts and special prizes. Enjoy same-day delivery in Manchester and St. Elizabeth or pick up at our store in Santa Cruz. Don't wait. Order today. Call 876-966-2214 or visit our website at fedlinsupermarket.com. Fedlin Limited, your groceries, your way.
Nationwide News Network, NNN, through Nationwide 90 FM, is one of only 2 Jamaican media companies authorized to engage in the radio broadcast of matches at the 2026 FIFA World Cup finals being played in USA, Mexico, and Canada. The other rights holder in the radio broadcast category is Fame 95 FM. On May 19, 2026, NNN signed a sub-license agreement with Caribbean Sports Limited, CPSL. CPSL is based at first floor, 1 Welch's, St. Thomas, Barbados, BB 22025. It has come to our attention that media companies here in Jamaica, on the radio side of the business, other than Nationwide 90 FM and Fame 95 FM, have made representation to advertisers that they hold the rights to transmit in full or in part matches at the 2026 FIFA World Cup finals. Such representation is false. NNN will protect its position as it relates to the radio broadcast of matches at the 2026 FIFA World Cup finals. We will pursue all breaches in court.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. We throw you back to our live broadcast right here in Santa Cruz. We're speaking with Delano Williams, the Corporate Public Relations Manager for the National Water Commission. All right, so earlier we were speaking about the actual length of the road, yes, and the work required, about 2 kilometers from that end of the bypass. You know what? Let me not be the person to try and define it. Right. Tell our viewers and listeners what's the scope of this work in terms of how long it's going to be, right, from one end to the next, what have you, and the areas that are also going to benefit.
Okay. All right. So today we are on site along the bypass road for Santa Cruz. This road starts with the intersection of Main Street and what the Google Maps will say is Institution Drive.
It's really a fork right at the gas station if you're coming from the Manchester end, right? So once you make that right turn, our work will start there. It will continue all along the bypass road or the back road out to the next intersection, which is a stoplight opposite, I think, Big Rat Motors. Auto Parts had a store there. So we're looking at 2 kilometers of pipeline to be replaced. And just
That's
to give
direct. That's direct pipeline.
Direct pipeline.
Right. Give me an idea about the off roads.
So for the off roads, those combine to give us another 1 kilometer. So those will include Market Street, and where Institution Drive makes a left turn up past the NWC office and connects back onto Main Street as well. So those we will be using a combination of 6-inch mains, which is an upgrade from the existing 3-inch mains, which were laid over 40 years ago. And then we'll also be installing some 4-inch mains. Now, the timing of this work is also important for us because we are mindful, one, of the need for better water supply in this space. And so this work is coming along after we would have completed an earlier phase to install 10-inch mains along Main Street. All right? Now, so this is now a distribution main along the bypass road. The second part is there is need for road reinstatement at some critical roads. For instance, Market Street. So we are going ahead to replace those pipelines before the road reinstatement comes. So it's a proper sequence of work. So when the road reinstatement is done, NWC will not need to come back into action because the new pipes would have already been in place. There's no need for repairs and so on. This particular work that we're doing, which is valued at approximately $148 million, will be undertaken over the next 5 months. We'll be moving, as I said, from the farther end. So the end that is closer, if you're making the turn from Loana, coming from that side, Loana, Lacovia, making the left turn, we'll be starting from that end initially and continue until we get back to the gas station at the end closest to Manchester.
How do you advise a lot of your residents and your customers about over the 5-month period?
Yes.
What's the plan to keep them informed about
the work,
the way the work is going, and what to avoid, when to expect? Obviously, everybody's not going to have to wait until the 5-month period.
Right.
So inform your
customers. So, well, customers and stakeholders. So a lot of it's also a heavily trafficked road, which means physical signs are going to be a part of our mix. We are going to be utilizing, in addition to that, public media, mainstream media, so newspaper production. We utilize WhatsApp groups because they are quite effective. So we use them with the communities or the customers that we have contacts for. But we're also sharing them with like the political representatives, key stakeholder groups, the business groups. We share it via WhatsApp. And we use the good old-fashioned methods such as flyers and town criers to help with that as well.
All right. So the average consumer who doesn't understand, and for me too, I always hear about this thing they call non-revenue water.
Right.
Now once I hear non-revenue, that means it's free. So how do you explain the benefits of this? And what I have here is almost $130 million expenditure. I heard you mention 148.
In fact, yes. So the total cost between labor and material is 148 million.
Okay.
Right.
So explain to everybody what this non-revenue water is about. So when people hear it, they can understand in simple terms exactly what that means.
So non-revenue water is really that we intended to deliver to the customer. But on its way to the customer, it either gets stolen or it leaks. So we would have expended money to harness it. Sometimes we have to drill wells, sometimes we have to build what you call catchment to pull the water from the rivers. But after that, we treat it using a lot of electricity and other treatment. We disinfect. We pump it, but we get no money for it. So all that cost that we incur to distribute, we still get no money for it. Across our network, we have losses, meaning non-revenue losses, up to 70% in some places. And that's really and truly unacceptable. But it's a reality because of the age of a lot of the network. Over 70% of our network is more than 40 years old. So the pipes...
With insufficient pipe space, because
right.
where you would have had 2 and 3 inch pipes with a population of 5,000,
there
that
you go.
same area now has 40 years after
yes.
23,000.
Exactly.
With the same
exactly.
3-inch pipe.
Years ago, passing on this road, it was not as populated. This same road, which is the bypass in Santa Cruz, now you have businesses, you have much more housing stock coming up. So the upgrade gives us the opportunity to serve our customers better, but we're also saving the water in that we're not losing as much water as would have been lost when the old pipes break continuously. And it protects the roads.
So everybody believes, well, a lot of people certainly believe, that they're here when NWC is ready to do work.
Yes.
But when they're ready to complain, they can't find NWC.
Right.
Use this opportunity to tell people, especially like the business community,
yes.
along this bypass and,
yes.
and off-roads. Suppose somebody believes that, you know, the construction that is happening is creating an unfair blockage to their premises
right.
or what have you. What is the fastest route along the pipeline that they can use yes. For grievance resolution and complaints?
We have a project engineer who is going to be on site a lot of the time, but our office is right here at Institution Drive. So it's literally a left turn or a right turn off of the project site.
Right. Not so very far to go to
Not
complain.
very far. So you can stop by there. But if you choose to call, the number is 888-225-5692. The directory also has numbers for our corporate offices. Persons who choose to email can also send us an email at customercare@nwc.com.jm. So customer care, treat it as one word, at nwc.com.jm. And we'll be happy to take the concerns and respond to them as quickly as possible.
Now, I want you to just take a look down that road.
Yes.
Now, take another look up that road.
Yes.
5 months from now, better so, right. 6 months from now, what will people be truly looking forward to? You know, or when we look back and we say, boy, can you imagine?
Yes.
What is it that you hope everybody will be saying in 6 months with the work being done in 5 months?
Right.
Right.
Right. So a level of gratitude that the work has finished, because we know there's going to be some dislocation. Some days there will be single lane traffic. We will try to time the work as best to avoid major dislocation of the motoring public. At the end of 6 months, we expect to have pipes installed, customer connections in place, and also the road reinstatement back to a place where the motoring public is not inconvenienced.
I know.
Yes.
And this is the one question that unfortunately I have to ask you. Though it is not NWC.
Right.
But because you're working in conjunction with
yes.
the road replacement.
Right.
Have you ensured that they understand that as soon as you've finished 1 kilometer out of probably the 2, that they need to be keeping pace with you, so that at the end of 5 months, it's not just piping that's finished.
But road.
But road.
Yes.
It's a completed project.
Yes.
Have you stressed that to them?
Well, we have stressed it, and generally a number of our contracts also have the road reinstatement built into it. Now, one of the things we have to demonstrate or try to help our public to understand is that sometimes you see the pipes are laid and the trenches are covered, but the work is not always fully finished. We cover the pipes out of a safety precaution for the residents and the motoring public, while we undertake what is called pressure testing. because we're introducing heavy pressure on these lines, they can literally erupt. And so we have to cover them, but you may not see asphalt yet in place until the pressure testing is completed. So part of helping persons to keep track of that is to share the updates, and we will be committing to doing that in the coming weeks and months.
We look forward to tracking,
Yes.
you know, down the pipeline,
Yeah.
this project.
I'm sure we'll be talking again. All
For
right?
sure. All
Yeah,
right.
man. But
Thank you,
again, we just want the public to remember that it is going to be, the work is going to cause some displacement. We're going to be trenching the road. There will be dust. There will be heavy equipment. But our commitment is to work as safely and as quickly as possible.
Thank you very
And
much.
thanks.
We're speaking with Neville Green, the project engineer from the National Water Commission. So, Mr. Green, we've heard about 4 or 5 decades of inadequate pipes that now need replacement. People keep hearing about, oh, why the pipe won't change? Because they're still getting water through the pipes. So explain the technical advantages and probably the health advantage. I don't want to really carry down that road of moving from a 50-year-old 3-inch cast iron pipe, old time thing, to this new, is it 150 millimeter?
150.
All right. But they call ductile iron pipelines. You know, why is that material better? What's the benefit for households, for flow of water? All this, longevity, the works.
Okay, first and foremost, the size is of utmost importance. So we're moving from a smaller diameter pipe to a larger diameter pipe. Of course, the obvious is more flow, more water becomes available. The old existing 3-inch, as you rightly said, over 50 years have been laid. There are built-ups in the pipeline over a period of time, and so hence, one, it reduces the diameter that allows for the water flow through. That diameter has been reduced, so the flow would be significantly less over a period of time. Also, cast iron pipes, breakages occur very often, and so we have continuous
the rust factor.
repairs. Yes, we continue to experience repairs, and because of the long period of time that it has been there, it has been deteriorating severely. So on a frequent basis, we continue to repair leaks. Improving this pipeline now, upgrading it to ductile iron, will give us another longevity period, another 40 years. We're expecting good water flow through these pipelines. The ductile iron, it has cement lining inside of it, so we expect therefore for longevity again. The outside is coated with bitumen, so again we expect far less repairs in terms of leak. As a matter of fact, unless some severe happenings, we are not expecting to repair any leaks for the next 20 years, 25 years.
I hear you mention ductile pipe iron and bitumen.
Yeah.
So for the layman like myself, when you coat it with bitumen, what exactly is that? Is that a kind of mix?
It's a protection, longevity, allow for rust not to take the corrosion, minimal corrosion, because the word ductile in itself, it's kind of allow for some form of elongation. It's not brittle, so it can take a little, a little dent here and there, but the coating provides for longevity.
All right. Now you have a 5-month pipeline to lay approximately, give and take, I hear it's 2 kilometers.
3.
Okay, so 3. In total, when you add the off-roads,
3 kilometers.
you'll get 3.
Total.
Okay. So you have approximately 5 months working alongside with the road reinstatement.
And given the busy thoroughfare.
Exactly. So what are the primary logistical headaches that you expect to hit, and how do you plan to stay on track for this?
Okay.
You're going into a hurricane season, the works. You tell me so that we can allay any possible concerns that people have.
One of the requirements for the bidders is to provide us with a work program. So the work program will give us timelines. And in this case, we are looking at, say, for the first 3 months, pipe laying will be taking place. We are anticipating that in the 3 months, into the project. We will complete pipeline and complete pressure testing. If we meet that target, the remaining 2 months will be reinstatement of the road pipeline trench and preparing for commissioning exercise. So basically we are expecting, remember the project was the instruction for mobilize to the contractor, 1st of June or June 1st, 2026. So we're expecting they are going through a little teething process now and trying to search for their rhythm. I do believe they are on their way to finding that rhythm. Finding that rhythm based on their program and the team that they have with them, I have no doubt that they will complete within the prescribed.
Mr. Green, this is 2026. Gone are the days when people expect pipe to be laid, road surface covered, dug up in 2 months for one of the service providers, then covered again, dug up again for another service provider. What can customers and residents, be they residential or business, what can people comfortably know will not happen
Okay, thank
over
you
these
very
5
much.
months?
I am glad you raised that question because initially when we started the preliminary design for this project, the first thing we did was to engage the parish council and the NWA. We speak with them, told them our intentions, and of course, it's not a joint effort, but it's somewhat a together effort, if you want me to say that. It is good news to say that while we are running the pipeline, on the Market Street, we intend to lay the same size pipeline in this project, and the parish council is intending on reinstating that section of roadway. The good thing is both of us have teamed together to ensure that we put in the pipelines first, compact our pipeline change, prepare it, and then we're going to hand it over to the parish council for them to do the reinstatement. So I can assure you, we are moving ahead in a joint effort, and such as not to be, if I may say, going over, digging up, putting in new laterals will certainly ensure us that we don't have to be digging up to put in, to repair a lateral, to repair a customer service connection. And I think, we're moving in the right direction.
There is the use of technology and this engineering. So when you walk us through an engineering process, people just hear, oh, we're laying pipes. It's much bigger pipes. What kind of depth we're talking about when you're laying those pipes? You're going down 3 feet into the ground, 15 feet across. What's the kind of dimensions we're talking about?
Okay, to answer your question, in our pipeline construction, there are 2 main things we use. For the depth of the pipe, we usually stick to 2 feet 6 inches cover, meaning 30 inches cover. And we also, so if I may say then, the width we goes 6 inches on either side of the pipeline. Because what we really want is to surround the pipe with sand, such as to prevent any sharp object from punching the pipe and so forth. So with that kind of dimensions, this pipeline, we're going down about 40, 42 inches down.
Okay.
And so we consider that very safe from axle load and so forth.
All right. Now, obviously, I suspect, given laborers that usually come along, residents along, everybody is coming.
Wanting jobs.
Yeah. You're coming in fully with a team, or there are opportunities for residents
All right.
to get laborer jobs or skilled laborer jobs?
To be truthful, we, the NWC, we have some boundaries that we give the contractors, but we really don't get involved in the employment aspect. We step aside and it's up to the contractor to do his thing with. He finds, but usually what I see they do, they carry in their technical persons, their skilled men and women, and they hire laborers in the area.
Mr. Green, your final question. I know that your work is NWC and laying up pipes. However, the parish council will be responsible for rehabilitating the road.
Right.
How involved will you be at the end of the project to ensure that that road quality is in keeping with the laying of your pipes?
Okay, thank you very much again. We use this, in terms of the reinstatement of the road, we use the NWA specs. That's what we inject in our contract documents. So, and we are in dialogue and constant dialogue with the NWA, with the parish council, because as we said, we try to work together. Alongside that, when we finish laying our pipes and reinstate the road, there's a 12-month defects liability period, which we maintain the trench. And if we see settlements and anything go wrong, then the contractor has the responsibility to remedy the same.
At no cost to the taxpayer?
At no extra cost.
Thank you very much, Mr. Green, and good luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
So we're speaking with Jermaine Jackson, who is the regional manager for NWC for Manchester and St. Elizabeth.
Right.
All right, so you manage the region's day-to-day operations. So how exactly will replacing this specific 3-inch cast iron pipe with a 6-inch pipeline stabilize water pressure, and how many households you're trying to, and businesses, well, just go with households. You're really trying to make sure are satisfied by the upgrade. And will some people who didn't have access to water before because of bad piping now be beneficiaries of good pipe?
Okay. Let me first welcome you to the parish.
Always. Good
Yeah.
parish, you know. Good parish.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. We are very grateful for this project, and I must tell you, a lot of benefits will be derived from the project. Now, the project as it stands now is really to replace the existing 3-inch cast iron with 6 inches ductile iron pipe. So the first goal is that we're gonna increase volume within the space. Currently, we are covering approximately 300 customers. The thing
That's
about
like 1,200,
so times
1,500
that by
people.
4, right?
Yeah.
So we know about the demand issue. We have the demand to satisfy. So what we're gonna do is increase the volume, and when we increase the volume in the space, we ensure that the existing and those who would have come off the system as a result of the dilapidated system we currently have will benefit. After satisfying that existing demand, the plan is to move into how we expand into other streets and lanes, and also to bring on potential customers, new customers. So we are looking at probably another 500 in total in terms of new customers to
So
supply.
you could see yourself going up to 1,800?
Exactly.
All right. And I need to ask about, people always say, it's amazing that so many people can't get water, and there are so many locations people see NWC pipes that are, flooding the streets and what have you. Over time, how much waste has been caused by this 50-year-old 3-inch pipe? If you can measure it in over years and gallons.
When we do our assessment analysis in terms of leak, you're looking at, and this is real loss, physical loss, because you have other losses, commercial and other losses. But real loss, physical loss, you're looking at anywhere to about 40%, 45% in some sections, because where the infrastructure is aged, you find if you come in now and you put a higher pressure, higher flow, you'll have more leaks. So the resulting effect of a project like this, when you have new pipes in, you're seeing immediately a reduction of the physical loss, meaning our non-revenue water on the physical side will be significantly reduced.
Talk to me about real terms for our listeners and viewers. When we talk about 40% in some areas, gallon it and liter it for me. Are we talking about over the last 6 months we've lost 20 gallons, 200 gallons, 2,000 gallons, 40 liters? What's the kind of, because you have to give account for this water.
Unfortunately, I wouldn't mind it was the 20 gallons. That would be minimal. But you're looking at, as I said before, the age infrastructure, you find losses going anywhere above 400,000 gallons per month in terms of accumulation of
Hold
the
on.
different.
You're talking about, let's say, just for St. Elizabeth?
St. Elizabeth, right. Because as I said,
400,000 gallons per month.
Right. Approximately.
Approximately. And this, so we can lay that at the feet of
various reasons.
We can lay that pipe.
Various reasons, because you have, as I said, the age infrastructure.
Right.
You have other issues such as the large extent of illegal connections across the parish.
Wow.
So where connections are not made properly, there is a leak at the point of connection to the system. So what you find happening, those numbers will add up.
Now, if I had an aged meter, I've been using aged pipes, so now I have an aged meter. Will a lot of the customers be required to change their meters to get more upgraded, more modern meters? Or you're going to be sending through all this new pressure, new pipe, and I still use the same old system?
All right. So the commercial component of the project, as we build out in terms of while the construction is going on, we already have the persons, as I said, who are customers. We also gonna do commercial activity for persons who are on the system and require meters, because you have some persons who are unmetered. So the plan is to meter those. And at the end, the plan is to meet out all customers, new and existing. But the issue of metering, as you speak about that, it allows us to better able to calculate and have a measure on the tanks.
Water is life, man.
Exactly.
I think
I'm gonna say waters. Yeah, but we definitely have that component of the project. Another part of the project, as we get closer to commissioning, we will ask persons who would have their connection disconnected to come now and try to settle up with the NWC in terms of the arrears. There are many various programs to settle your balance, especially we have the welcome back as we speak, where you come into the office, you have a discussion with the rep, and whatever the decision is in terms of your ability to pay the amount owing, then an agreement will be signed.
Wonderful.
Right. So we have the commercial component, which will take care of existing, those who are inactive, and the new customers to come on, which pretty much at the end, everybody should be metered.
This is a major project, about $148 million, 3 kilometers worth of piping. Over the 5-month period, try and explain as best as you can, short as you can, to your customers the expected disruption that they will face to their present water supply over the 5-month period.
So a project like this has different components, phases. And just quickly to tell you, while the contractor is working, yes, we will have disruptions. Disruptions vary, whether it's a small leak that pops up or a major leak. The contract speak to the contractor having the required plumbers, certified plumbers, to do those repairs. Where leaks may be out of their scope, then the NWC will assist and as quickly as possible have the supply repaired. Now, the PR aspect, the public relations aspect of it, whenever we are disrupting the regular supply, maybe for interconnection of the new line, then the communication department will say to the customers within the space, whether by text blast, emails, or through the PA system, that, look, we're going to disrupt the supply for whatever hours. it will be back by this time so that persons are aware. You will also have occasions where it might be longer. We have the trucking services, so persons just make the request, we provide the water via the trucks. So we have all of that covered.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson. Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change. Obviously, things are changing for Santa Cruz with this bypass work. This is a $149 million, call it $150 million investment project. How does this specific project fit into the government's broader national mandate to modernize Jamaica's aging water infrastructure and pipes?
Well, the greatest problem that the Water Commission faces is what you call NRW, non-revenue water, meaning pipes that, or rather water that just never gets to final consumer. So we process it, we pay to store it, we pay to chlorinate it, but it never makes it to a paying customer. So what this investment will do is significantly reduce leaks in and around Santa Cruz, and what that will do is significantly increase the volume of water that gets to people's homes and to their businesses. The original pipe is about 3 inches. The community has grown multiple times since that pipe was laid in the 1970s. This is now a 6-inch ductile iron pipe, so it will double the carrying capacity while also reducing the leaks by at least 60%.
With your portfolio covering climate change, yes, we're upgrading to the ductile iron pipes, but given the modern day extreme weather situations that we're seeing now, when we see works like this, do you plan for weather changes with this kind of pipe infrastructure?
So we've changed the types of pipes that we generally use. The sort of old-time asbestos pipes obviously are no longer used for the most part. It depends on the soil type that really determines the type of pipe that is appropriate. For high pressure major distribution lines, we tend to use ductile iron because they can take the pressure of 6 inch of water flow. But there are some places that HDPE plastic pipes are appropriate, and there are some places that we're actually using some pipes that are relatively flexible to be able to take the impact of seismic shakes, which is something that wasn't previously contemplated in Jamaica.
So pretty much, when it comes on to laying of the pipes, is there now a sort of more modernized way that pipes are laid,
well, I don't
considering these seismic events and natural
I don't know if it's more
disasters?
modernized. We're giving it our all to ensure that the standards that exist, which are well designed, are indeed adhered to. Once you adhere to the appropriate standards, we shouldn't have any problems.
All right, so after this 5-month project is completed, and I want you to take the time out, Minister, to assure the people that when you say 5 months, that they're not accustomed as they have in the past to
I
15.
assure residents of Santa Cruz, and indeed everyone else who will listen, that they will have a Merry Christmas as it relates to water in this area.
What are the checks and balances between the NWC, the Parish Council, and the NWA work plan to ensure that we're not back here another 20 years from now?
Well, you should be back here in 25, because ultimately what you want to do is ensure that you're replacing the pipes in line with their expected life. So these pipes should last 30 years, which means at year 25, you should be completing the engineering, going to procurement, to the relaying before you hit the 30-year mark. So the reality is we do want to be here in just under 30 years. The concern would be here is if you're here in 10. That would reflect a challenge. But for us, we're trying to get to the point now where you build a register of works that are done. So you start to schedule when engineering needs to be done to replace these particular pieces of infrastructure.
All right. Leaving Santa Cruz Bypass project, give us some idea of some of the other projects that you as the Minister of Water are going through to sort of, not necessarily in order, but...
Well, I'll just look at 2 in this particular area of meaning St. Elizabeth. St. Elizabeth, as fertile as the ground is, and as much as housing infrastructure has increased here in recent years, the water infrastructure didn't keep pace with it. 2 major projects at 2 different ends of the parish that we're particularly proud of, and we're working to get off the ground this year, would really be the Pedro Plains irrigation system, which Minister Green is piloting, which will see water being moved from the Black River, moving east and pretty much irrigating the entire southern plains of St. Elizabeth. Now, why that's important is that we'll actually return wells that the National Irrigation Commission now use for potable water use. and allow us to significantly increase water distribution generally in the southern plains. The next one that I'm working very hard on and we expect to get to procurement very soon on is the Union to Balaclava scheme. That system in that area is woefully inadequate for the nature of that community now. Community has grown long past what infrastructure is there. The infrastructure that is there is past its useful life. We intend to invest some $700 million into that area a little later, well, certainly at the end of the procurement process, which take about 9 months to a year. So those are two ones that we're very focused on getting through the project life cycle to the point of construction.
Thank you very much, Minister. Appreciate it. Councillor Christopher Williams, you're the councillor for the Santa Cruz Division.
That's correct.
All right. So this project targets a lot of areas, Friendship Street, some other bypass, off-roads, places like Dr. Rock. I suspect you can name some others, but are there any specific pockets in your division that are affected the most and will benefit the most from this project?
Right. So you have mentioned two already, the Friendship Street, the Dr. Rock, we have Brighton, we have the New River. So those communities will benefit from this project that we see we're doing the groundbreaking for today.
Which is the hardest hit community out of that list?
The truth is, all these communities are affected in a great way because the content pump, which supplies water to the Santa Cruz area, we are having some issues down there. So it really affects the residents in these parts. But as was mentioned earlier in the ceremony, these pipes are related from in the 70s. So definitely these off-roads that we mentioned earlier are affected. They are all affected in a great way. Believe, they are really, really affected.
So I know it is the job of the National Water Commission to bring the communication aspect to the residents and business owners about the work and how they'll be disrupted. As the councillor, I suspect you obviously plan to play a role in the information to your, let's say, constituents. You want to use this opportunity and tell them what to expect?
Well, I've been doing that already. I'm using social media, face-to-face, informing citizens about what is taking place. So what is happening is that the NWC, they're replacing the pipelines from along the bypass to the Wamstead Road, the intersection of Wamstead Road and Main Street. Also, work will be taking place along Market Street, the entire Market Street, and also Brigade Street to the intersection of Main Street. They will tie in the pipes there to the mains, which will then take the water to these citizens in these locations. So as I've said to persons during my contacts with them, expect delays along the bypass and also ensure your safety because we have a lot of communities along here where a lot of residents live along this route. So we're asking them to be careful and exercise, caution when using the roadway around here.
All right. Last thing for you. I'm sure there are lots of skilled laborers in the Santa Cruz and adjoining areas who would want to be a part of this project if possible. What do you say to those who, first at least ensure we have an orderly involvement or hiring process or vetting process? What do you say to those who want to be a part of this project as laborers?
And what I can say to all those persons, I have already had meetings with the contractor and he has given his assurance that he will be making contact with me and also the Member of Parliament to seek workers as time goes on, as the project goes on, because the project is for an extended period of time. So as the time goes on, he'll be reaching out to us for laborers. And I am present and I'll be present at the location every day until the project is completed because we want to ensure that whatever work is taking place it is, to the benefit of the people, and taxpayers' money is well spent.
Thank you very much, Councillor.
Thank you very much.
So, here we are, once again. But we're at the end of it. And let me give you just a refresher, a little reminder. Let me water your minds a little bit about what we've been doing here today, right about Santa Cruz and the bypass road. A 5-month-long project, $150 million on average, and increasing 3-inch pipes that are 50 years old to new, durable, lifetime 6-inch pipes. This, of course, will redound to the benefit of at least 1,200 to 1,500 residents. One of the things people need to understand is that water is not just life, but it has to be in the best possible infrastructure. Now, this we've been covering on Nationwide 90 FM, all island infrastructural development projects, and we'll be covering as many as possible. This one promises to at least take 5 months. Now, at the end of 5 months, residents are expected to understand that the flow of their water will be much better. You won't have, or not supposed to have, regular breakages and loss of water, all of that. So, we want to say a big shout out, of course, to the NWC management team, the minister who was here, all those who were involved in the policy direction and development of this project, and of course, to you, our viewers and listeners on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. I want to say a big shout out to the BDE who made this happen, and that, of course, is Diana Buchanan. And we want to say Tajay Thompson, he caught everything on camera, all the things that you've been seeing, and Natalie Nita, the efficient and ever effervescent producer. All right, so who else is left to thank? Oh, yes. And I'm your host, Rodney Campbell. Enjoy the rest of your day.
That was a delayed broadcast of the groundbreaking ceremony for the Santa Cruz Bypass Main Replacement Project. It was brought to you by the National Water Commission. And that's where we leave it for Nationwide at 5 this evening. Thanks to our producer Dana Davey, technical operator Andrew Glenn Anderson, and the news and production team led by Cara Powell. Good evening.
This is Nationwide's World Cup Team Profile. Brought to you by Digicel. Powered by you, connected by us.
Colombia has appeared in the FIFA World Cup on 6